Hey everyone, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm showing you a simple way to wrap gifts for Christmas. In addition to making and giving cards, I love to give gifts. That's my love language. And I love to wrap my gifts in a pretty way. Sometimes I spend more time and effort on wrapping the gift than the gift itself. It's just the way I am. I wanted to wrap some simple gifts for my neighbors and for people I know just to spread a little holiday cheer. So I ordered some chocolate bars as I thought these would be pretty easy to wrap. And in this video, I'll show you how I wrap them using my card making and gift wrapping supplies. You can, of course, use this as inspiration to wrap any kind of gift. Let's look at the supplies we'll need to wrap our gifts. First of all, we will of course need some pretty wrapping paper. I have this craft paper from my stash. I don't really remember where I got it from as it has been a few years, but you can use any patterned wrapping paper you like. Although the simpler the pattern for this type of wrapping, the better, as we want the pattern on the paper to not distract from all the other things we'll be using to decorate our gift. You can also use plain craft paper if you have that. By the way, you can find a lot of wrapping paper designs on the Spellbinders website, although none are Christmas designs, but they are all very pretty everyday prints, and I have links to those below. So next, I pulled two types of ribbon to wrap my gifts. First, I have this gold circlé ribbon. It is from Vivant, and this ribbon is a bit plasticky, and it's the type of ribbon that can be curled using the edge of your scissors. And that's what I'll be doing for my gift. So I'm not going to use this ribbon to actually wrap my gift. I'll just use it to add a little bit of gold accent to my gifts. The other type of ribbon I have is this green satin ribbon, also from Vivant. It is the green gold color, and it is a very, very high quality ribbon. And by the way, you can even foil on this ribbon. Although I thought about adding a foiled message to my gifts onto this ribbon, I thought about foiling something like Merry Christmas, but since I'm wrapping 25 chocolate bars, I figured that would be a bit of an undertaking, so I skipped that. But if you are wrapping just one gift for that one special person, it definitely makes sense to add some foiling to your ribbon. Next, I love to use faux flowers and faux greenery for my gifts, and here I have these faux pine branches from my stash. I will cut those apart using my wire cutters, and I will add a pine branch, onto each of my gifts. You can substitute these by using die cut branches. We all have loads of dies, so it wouldn't be that hard to create some pretty die cuts for these gifts. Next, I also have these faux red berries. I've had these in my stash for years, and every year I use them for some sort of holiday decor, so I just reuse them. And this year I decided that they would look fabulous on top of these gifts. Again, if you don't have berries like this, consider die cutting berry branches from brown and red cardstock and using die cuts instead. It would be a lot cheaper than buying these faux berries. Next, I decided I wanted to add a wax seal onto each gift. I love to make wax seals, and I'm finally getting much better at making them. So I pulled out my wax seal starter kit from Spellbinders. I also grabbed some green and black wax and a few wax seal designs. Here is one wax seal that I made as a test. I really love this green tree, and I added the silver highlight using a silver pen. A gold pen would have looked a little bit better here since I do have that gold ribbon, but I took my gold pen with me to a craft show in Birmingham in UK. I went there in November, and the pen was very heavily used there during the 4 days of the show, and sadly the pen did not survive. So I'm just waiting for a new gold pen to come in the mail, and in the meantime I'm using the silver pen, which is actually just as pretty. So I pulled two wax seal designs. One is this Be Joyful from my Yana's Delightful Christmas. It's from my Christmas collection that released in July this year. And the other is a tree design. And the tree wax seal actually comes in a 3-pack wax seal set. It's called Holiday set from the Sealed for Christmas collection, and I have a link to that in my video description below. Okay, so let's get started. First, I wrapped one gift to figure out what I wanted to do. And once I had that wrapped, I started preparing all the bits and pieces for my process. I wanted to be like a step-by-step process where I would do step 1 for all of my gifts. Then I would do step 2 for all of my gifts, step 3, and so on. So step 1 was figuring out the size of pattern paper. I figured that for this particular chocolate bar, I needed my pattern paper to be cut to 6.5 by 6.5 inches. And so I did that using my Spellbinders paper trimmer. I really like that the paper trimmer has this extendable arm, so I was able to cut a longer sheet of paper easily. I folded my paper 3 times, so I have 3 sheets of paper there. I cut one big chunk from my roll, and then I used that in my paper trimmer and I trimmed it to size. So I do have a little bit of leftover pattern paper or wrapping paper here, but that's fine. That wrapping paper roll is huge, so I did not mind having some little bits and pieces that were extra. Next, I started wrapping my chocolate bars. I added a little bit of yellow tape just to secure the flaps in place. And then I added double-sided adhesive tape. I have my tape runner here. So I added a little bit of double-sided adhesive to the corners of my wrapping paper. And then I just placed the chocolate bar in the center and I wrapped it like an envelope. It was very easy to do. Now, the corners were a little bit tricky, but honestly, I did not spend too much time fussing with the corners or making sure that they were perfectly folded because, again, I was wrapping 25 of those and I just did not have time to make sure that every single one of them was perfectly wrapped. And in the end, it looked really good. The corners were fine. And also, if you look at the gift itself, you're not really seeing the imperfect corners because you are seeing all of the beautiful decorations on top of the gift. Next, I used my Vivant ribbon and I wrapped it around the gift. I tied it into a bow and I trimmed the excess. Super simple. Next, I cut a piece of the Vivant Cercle cord and I curled it using my scissors. It curls really nice and it just adds a little bit of extra wow, pizzazz, I guess, to your project. I tied it into a little knot on some of my gifts, but then on the other gifts, I just basically threaded it under the green ribbon. Next, I cut my faux greenery using my wire cutters. These are, by the way, the same wire cutters that I use to cut my dies apart. These are very handy when it comes to using them for faux flowers because they cut the stems easily. So I used the wire cutters to cut the stem apart, and now I have this little piece of pine branches that I slipped under the green ribbon. Next, I have my red berries, and I decided that I needed 3 for each gift. So I'm just using the stems and twisting the stems together so that they would stay in place. And once again, I'm using my wire cutters to trim the excess stem off. Then I'm just tucking them under my ribbon on top of the pine branch. And I already love the way this looks. It's just so super pretty. And you can also add some little snow. You can add some glitter if you want to your cards to add a little bit of sparkle. You know, if you use the chunky glitter, you can create the faux snow effect, the faux snow look. It looks very pretty. I thought about doing that, but honestly, by the time I finished wrapping all of these gifts, I was a little bit too tired and I just did not have the energy to do that. So I skipped doing that, but I still wanted to mention it just in case you do have the energy to add some faux snow to your little gifts. And the final step is to add our wax seals. I kind of like this part the most because this gave me the opportunity to play with my wax and just experiment with different colors. I did originally pick more wax seal designs, but in the end, I did like the oval seal design the most. It kind of made sense the most for these gifts. Now, as for the wax seal colors, I made sure that I used a selection of green colors and that I also used some black wax. Now, the green colors that I used were the citrine wax, the matcha wax, and also my favorite, green. It's just the basic green color, but it's very nice and very dark green. I really like it. I'm actually almost out of that. I did use my last dark green wax beads for making these wax seals, and I even had to cut some of my previously made wax seals apart, some that weren't successful. I had to cut them apart to make sure that I had enough dark green wax for these projects. So I lit the candle and I made sure to get my spoon nice and hot. And then I just started pouring the wax, playing with the different colors, experimenting with the number of beads and the proportion of different color that I wanted for these. In the end, I settled on using just the 2 wax seal designs that I showed you at the beginning of this video. And after I poured them, I also made sure to add the highlight using the silver pen. Next, when it comes to adhering the wax seals onto my gifts, I knew that I wanted to pour a little bit of hot wax over my ribbon and use that as an adhesive to attach my seal. So here I have all of my wax seals made, and I'm just melting a little bit more wax so that I can add a drop of wax onto the ribbon and then use that to press my pre-made wax seal onto my gift. You can also use a hot glue gun. I don't have that. You can also try and use some other adhesive, but I found that just using wax is basically the best option, as it really holds everything down. It holds the wax seal in place, so there's no need to use anything additional. So here's a look at all of the pretty little gifts I wrapped. I can't wait to deliver these and just spread a little holiday cheer. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope this video has inspired you to wrap some pretty Christmas gifts and just play with your supplies. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Love you guys, and I hope to be back with a card making video very soon. December has been very busy. I went on a little trip to Vienna with my friends. It was just a weekend trip. And I'm also going on another Christmas trip with my mom. So I really haven't had a lot of time to create, but I do miss my craft room. I do miss making cards. So I hope to be back to card making very soon. Love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.